I found with me personally, my skill is really only as good as my mental training is. Like as good as my mind is how good as my like physical performance will be. Because when I lack the confidence, then my performance is going to suffer. So there's a huge connection between the mental game and the physical game. So enhancing your mental training is 100% going to improve your physical game.
All right. Welcome, Macy, Lauren, and Logan. Woo-hoo! I know. I got you up on your first official day of winter break to talk about our season. So I couldn't be more honored to have you three on the podcast. And Macy, if anyone has noticed, Macy actually is our podcast girl. She is on the cover of our podcast. So she's coming in to give you some behind the scenes. But I will give a little background on these three. These three are captains, and they were both chosen by their team, but also endorsed by me as really strong leaders of our program. And you three lead in much different ways, but you do it in a way that actually complements each other and brings our team together in a really unique way. So grateful for the three of you. And I'm really excited to give everyone kind of a behind the scenes. So I'm going to start by having each of you introduce yourselves. And I want to know how long you have been playing volleyball, what position you play, do you play other sports, and you're all seniors. So what are your plans for next year? I know that's a lot to hit, but Macy's going to start us off.
Hi, I'm Macy, and I'm a senior, and I've been playing volleyball since 5th grade, so that's about 7 years now. And then my post-high school plans are not really confirmed yet, but I plan to play volleyball and then study biology and eventually become a pediatrician further in the future.
Right. Okay, Macy, what position do you play?
Oh, I'm a setter.
That's right. And a really good one too. Yes. And fun fact, I got to have Macy on my 12s team back when she was a little nugget. Okay, let's see. Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren Dreves. I am an outside hitter. I've been playing volleyball since like 3rd grade, but really my whole life because of my mom. And after high school, I'm attending Auburn University to play volleyball and study business management.
Yeah, and Lauren's leaving soon.
Yes.
By the time this episode airs, Lauren, you are going to be at Auburn. So, wow. Yeah. Okay, Lauren, tell us what position you play, and do you play any other sports?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm an outside hitter, and the other sports I play are tennis because of my dad. He's a tennis coach, so I played tennis in high school, but I used to play competitive with my little sister before volleyball.
Yeah, pretty competitive. And so, Lauren, you have 3 state championships in volleyball. How many do you have in tennis?
Well, it's hard because in tennis you have individual state champions, but you also have teams. So I have 1 team title in tennis and 2 individuals. So 3.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of all the championships. Everyone. Yes, it's so fun to watch you dominate in both those areas. Okay, Logan, your turn.
Well, hi, I'm Logan. I am also a senior, and I'm a middle blocker. I got put there when I was little because I was tall, and it kind of stuck. I've been playing since 5th grade. And I do track, and I played basketball for a long time, but not this year. But yeah. Is that all of it?
I think you were the one that hit all of them, Logan. Like you learned from Macy and Lauren. Yeah, I love that you got placed as a middle, and then typically that means you're not allowed to play back row. But I'll have the listeners know that Logan did very well back row this season.
So true.
I think she's frozen right now, but she's looking happy. She's looking excited about it. Okay, your first question, and we'll see if Logan can get unfrozen, is from your perspective, having been there multiple years, what does it take to be a state champion? Macy, I'll start with you.
Okay, honestly, to be a state champion, you have to work hard every single day in practice leading up to that final goal. And I think something that we did this year that was really important was setting our goal to be state champions and kind of setting milestones on the way. And our first milestone was just starting off strong in practice and having a good competitive and intentional practice. So I think that was really important. And then just having integrity is really important as well. And being hardworking is also a huge part of it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I think that like having that vision early on is key. So we always talked about like, we're looking at the end, but we can't stay focused there because that's literally like 12, 13 weeks away. And so now we just have to look like what's in front of us today. And that's this practice, this hour of practice. Okay. This drill in practice. So yeah. Okay. Lauren, how about you?
I think just agreeing with Macy, also just like having goals set in front of us rather than looking straight at the championship, because as we already won state the 2 previous years, of course, staying at the top is the hardest part. So I think something that was really important was pushing each other in practice, because honestly, that is where our best competition came from, was from each other. And I think that was something that was really important to us, because when we pushed each other in practice, the games became so much easier. So I think that's something that really pushed us over other people. I think that's really what separated us from one team than another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, practices were intense, and Lauren, you often led that work ethic and that integrity, and everyone just kind of like followed suit. So yeah. Okay, Logan, you might have been frozen when I asked this, but from your perspective, what does it take to be a state champion?
Yeah, sorry, I had way too many tabs open.
Oh, I have that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously it takes skill, which is something that we had all 3 years. But I think especially this year, something I noticed was like there's so much more than skill, and like what they were saying, it's like relying on each other as a team. But also like a huge part of it was the mental training that we did. Like you trained our mental game so well, and like finding the confidence in ourselves and also like having that confidence in our teammates, I think was a huge part of our success this year.
Yeah, I think it's true. Like I often hear when skill is similar in teams, it's like the intangibles that will allow a team to kind of pull ahead. And we had a lot of skill. We also came up against a lot of highly skilled teams when it came to like the state championship and like the road to get there. And one of the, like some of those intangible things that we actually make tangible in mental training is like, how do you deal with pressure? How do you deal with like negative comments from the crowd when that's happening? What do you do when you kind of get rattled or you make mistakes? Like those are all things like no matter how skilled a team is, no matter how skilled you are as a player, you're still going to face those things. Like it's not like they go away because you're like more skilled. In fact, some of those things are even more intense. So I actually want to ask that. It wasn't a question that I gave you ahead of time, but was there anything surprising this year as, you know, 2-time defending state champs coming in and then kind of like as our season progressed, was there anything that was surprising to you, either good or bad? I have something that I want to share, but I want to hear from you first. Anyone can go on this and just say your name first before you speak.
I'm Lauren Dreves. I think something that was really surprising was like as 2-time defending state champ, the pressure was just a lot this year. I mean, after 1, it's a lot but now it's 2. And so we're going for a 3rd. Mm-hmm. I think how well this team handled the pressure, it's almost like it didn't even faze us. Like, yes, we were 2-time state championship and most of the girls on the team already have a championship, but we wanted another. It wasn't like, oh, we just won one and now we're done. I think it's almost like the pressure didn't faze us at all. And obviously that had to do with your mental training. And so I think that was just something that was super important, was even when things did get tight, like we just pulled ahead or we came back just because we knew that we could do it.
Mm-hmm. That's a good answer. Anything else surprising, Logan or Macy?
I think for me, because like almost half of our team was new to the team this year. So just the way that like the team dynamic functioned, I was like, I have no idea how this is going to go, but it was a really great team. And like, we all worked together really well.
Yeah. You never really know, right? Like, especially with half being new and not being in that big arena before, or even doing, there's a lot that comes with that. Yeah. My surprising thing was kind of similar to Lauren's. And that was that, I guess when I look back, it's not too surprising, but you start to get kind of like more haters, the more success you have. And I think that's like good, not like really nasty people, but just, I think that's important to realize as athletes. And sometimes, unfortunately, as girl athletes, sometimes the more success you have, the more people like don't want you to be successful. And they're like, let's bring them down. And, the first time we won, it was like, oh my God, it was like just amazing. And it seemed like everybody was just so supportive. And then gradually it was kind of like, wait, can we have somebody else win? Can it not be Columbia River anymore? And not only were people like, I think Mindy said this, like we had an alumni come in. She was like, people don't just like want to win, like beat you. They want to see you lose. They want to like dethrone you. They're coming for you. And I was kind of surprised by that. I was like, won't everybody just continue to want us to win? But, obviously our fans do, but there's a lot that didn't. And that's just one of those things as athletes, again, that you have to keep your blinders on and be like, who cares what people think, and we get carried away with like what people are saying, what people are thinking, then we just get distracted. And so it was actually a good reminder for me to be like, it does not matter. Like literally these 12 girls are the only thing that matter, like outside of that. And then like, okay, their families, but then outside of that, who cares what people are saying? And so, yeah, that was a little surprising to me, but okay. Logan kind of hit on this already, but what do you think made our team unique? There's a lot of teams that are talented. Like you all said, there's a lot of teams that make it to the state championship. Well, there's 16, but what made our team unique? Let's start with Macy.
Something that I think set our team apart was, first of all, obviously our team chemistry, kind of like what Logan said, we really flowed well together. And I think that was really important on the court because we could always, no matter how tight things got, no matter how the game went, we could always come back to each other and we could always, start off like nothing ever happened. And it was kind of a really like helpful part of that season was just playing with some of my best friends. And yeah, so team chemistry was a huge part of it, but also, and I'm sure it's going to be a common answer, but obviously, like Logan said, again, our mental training and the way we think about the game in general and our love for volleyball and our love for just playing was completely unmatched. Like when our biggest competitors, when we came up against them, the biggest thing that set us apart was the fact that we could get out of ruts easily because of, okay, next point, we're going to make a big play. We're going to get a big block. We're going to get a great dig instead of, oh my gosh, we're totally going to lose. We're totally other teams kind of just go down. But when we get in that rut, we have these leaders who are bringing us back up and trying to get us back to where we were.
Yeah. You're so right. And I would see, I never was like worried even when we were down by a few points, I was like, hey, we've got this next point. There's always like just the next one. Yeah. I love that. Lauren, what do you think?
I mean, agreeing with Macy and Logan, obviously, I think with us, I think something that really stood out to me was the fight that each person had on our team. Like it wasn't just one person or two people that wanted it more, like everybody wanted it the same amount. And I think when we faced other teams, you could tell that we didn't give up easily. Like we could have been down a couple points, but we went out there acting like we were winning the whole time. Mm-hmm. And so I think something that was really interesting was seeing how we all relied on each other and we were all confident in each other. Like let's say we lost the point and we're going to receive. I knew Ellie was going to get a good pass. He was going to set a perfect ball and I knew Logan was going to kill it. Like just those aspects, I think the confidence we had in each other just set us apart so much, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Logan, how about you?
I mean, I agree with everything they said, but I think in addition to that, just also the way we were coached and like the way the program was run, we like throughout the whole season, we like knew what to expect from each other and like the expectations and this, like our theme this year was set the standard. And so we knew what the standards were. And I think having those expectations was very helpful for us to like know our goals and know how to achieve our goals and how to hold each other accountable to achieve those goals.
Good answers. Okay. We're going to shift a little bit. So you all were, we started introducing this concept of like mental training, like visualization, breath work, coming back from mistakes, like how you think about the game and how you think about yourself when you get down. All of those things we started introducing in the program about 6 years ago. So by the time you were freshmen, it might have been, it wasn't new to the program, but it was probably something new to all of you. And I want you to take me back, and it's okay if you're like, this was a little different. But I want you to tell me what your initial reaction to when we started doing some of these like mental training things in our program. What were you first thinking? Macy, we'll go with you first.
Okay. Honestly, like the very first time I did it, I was kind of like, why is everyone like, should I really be closing my eyes right now? Like, I was like, is everyone looking at, is this a prank? Like, I was like, what's going on? But the more I got into it, the more I trusted the process and I actually saw results. And I remember in my freshman year during the club season, I had this coach that was really just not good for my mental health. And I was like, what do I do? I was like, I don't know what to do right now. And my dad was like, get on a Zoom with Bre and talk about like how you can reset. Because what my teammates and my coach over in club season was really not helping how I thought about the game. And then I remember we had that Zoom call and we kind of talked about reset methods and things that I could do to help my mental game. And then literally I haven't stopped using that method since freshman year when I was introduced to it. Like my reset word has been the same, like my reset movement has been the same, and it's all just been like it's all connected since freshman year. So that was really important to me.
I remember that. That's when we couldn't like be in person either. That was oh my gosh, for sharing that. All right, Lauren, how about you?
I was very shocked like Macy because I walked in the gym like a little 14-year-old, like, what does mental stuff have to do anything with volleyball? Like this is like all of that. And that honestly really changed my life because when I walked in the gym, I was probably the least confident I've ever been when I was playing. Like every time I made a mistake, I was like, oh my gosh, the world is gonna end. But as I continued with the training, I'm just such a better player due to how strong my mental health is now. And even on and off the court, I use the reset. I just think understanding how your training helped me is just like, I can't even describe it because I'm just such a better teammate. I'm such a better player. And honestly, I can feel the pressure now without wanting to crumble. And so I think it's just honestly just changed my game completely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lauren. I mean, you really like your game has changed. And that's also due to the work all three of you have put in. Like you, Lauren, you've put in a ton of work. And so know that, like, give yourself credit, but also the fact that you all see that there's this part of the game that can like really make a difference in how you're playing. It really is what sets you apart too. Yeah. Logan, how about you? What were you thinking?
I think I remember I wasn't like 8th grade, I think was when I first, like I went to one of it was like the Zoom thing, but I went to one of them in 8th grade. My mom just like signed me up because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be playing for her someday. So I went and I remember I took like so many notes and I probably still have them somewhere, but like, remember the iceberg visual, like iceberg image. Yeah. And I was like, this is cool. And it was like a time in my playing where I was struggling with confidence, especially like as a middle. I was like, I can't pass. I don't know how to play defense. So I was like really insecure about that part of the game. Yeah, I remember doing that and like over the summer really practicing those skills, like going into high school. And that helped my game a lot. And then, I mean, freshman year was like COVID, but I remember walking into the gym and I was like, sweet, we get to do this all the time. But I was like, are people like actually going to take it seriously? So it was really cool to see like so many people like actually doing it and being intentional with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I actually didn't know you came to a Zoom in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. That was a long time ago. Things have changed since then. Not, I mean, the content, but yeah, I'm wondering what that was like for you. It sounds like it was good. Oh, this is great. Okay. So you've already kind of hit a little bit on this, but I do want to ask the question in case there's anything you wanted to add. But what skills for you have been the most helpful? Anything that you've learned, or maybe even just like a phrase or something that's helped you in your game? Macy, you kind of said the snapback routine, but
yeah, definitely the snapback routine has been my most important part of the game because my reset word has like changed in variation a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it's still just it's just kind of like I take a deep breath, I say my word, and then it's like next play, I'm ready to go. Like, excuse me. It's really just helps me kind of get back into the game because there's times where like it seems like nothing's going right and you just need to like really just get a deep breath in. And mm-hmm. I mean, just thinking about the memories connected to that word coming back to me in mid-game is really helpful because it's just like, it reminds me like, I am a good player. I can do this. I can snap back from this. And there's been so many times this season where I've used my word and it's just gotten me right back to where I needed to be. So,
yeah. Oh, that's so great. What's your word?
My word is isolated because it's kind of just, it resembles me just like shutting out everything else, like just playing my game. Like I don't need to hear anybody's like help, like not help, but like criticism per se. Mm-hmm. And it's just it's just me. Like I can do this. I've isolated my thoughts and they're only positive. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, Lauren, how about you?
I mean, I also agree with Macy. Definitely the snapback routine. I think what's really helped me is the deep breath and reset word. And yeah, I mean, that's honestly just helped me like come back to the game because there's times in games where it gets so frantic that you're kind of like your head's all over the place. You don't really know what's happening, but that really like grounds me and puts me back in the game, but also with a sense of calm so I'm not like freaking out on the court. So
yeah. And I've noticed that, and especially with you, Lauren, I mean, I think that everybody did a good job of this season, but Lauren, your best games came when the pressure was the highest. So it was like you played really well the entire season, but like your best performances were like the semifinals, the state championship, like the games leading up to that when it was like, okay, the pressure is high. And so that just shows that you knew how to navigate that pressure. You knew what it felt like and how to turn that into something that was going to be like really good for you. So yeah, that's not easy. Yeah. Logan, how about you?
I think for me, the affirmations that we would come up with, like the 3 at the beginning, because it's super easy for me to think of like, oh, there's like, just keep listing off things that I need to change or like need to be better at. And then my mind's just like ping ponging all over the place. So to just like organize my thoughts and have like the 3 things to like just grab myself with and be like, okay, just like the one thing, like what's just one thing I can focus on. And then also the breath has been super helpful. Like anytime in a game when I'm just like going crazy, like just thinking about my breath and like, yeah, because that's a big part of all the visualizations we do. So coming back to that has been super helpful.
So good. It's so simple too, but it's always there. Okay, this has been great. I want to shift back to season and obviously the skills that you learned and like just how you've been training. You've also been training your mind in ways that like you don't even realize, like subconsciously, just how we attack things, how we challenge each other. Like that's all part of mental training. And you see that too. Like, I mean, did you all watch the national championship last night or yesterday? Yeah. And like I love hearing like the interviews before and after and how they're highlighting players and how they talk about the moment. And they're like, I just come back to my routine, my serve routine, and I take my deep breath and I visualize where I'm going to see the ball going. And I stay aggressive instead of hesitating when it's match point. Like all of that is training your brain to decide like, this is how I'm going to meet this moment. So yeah, but let's talk about the other side. Cause it's not like it was, yes, it maybe record wise looked like we just flew through the season, right? Like 30-0. Yeah. Beating teams by a margin of 25-14 or something like that. But it wasn't without some challenges. So let's talk about that. Like, was there a challenge this season that you faced and what was it and how did you overcome it? Macy, we'll start with you.
One of my biggest personal challenges that I had this season was probably just like self-confidence, because this was my first year being the full-time setter for varsity. And I know that we've had success with 2 other setters, but now that pressure was on me. And I was like, how do I overcome this? Like, this is kind of a big role to fill. And I was kind of struggling with, am I good enough am I going to make my team proud? Am I going to make my coaches proud? Obviously, I overcame that. And I was very confident in myself by the end of the season, even by the beginning of the season. It was just kind of going into it. I was just kind of like, what's going to happen? Are they going to like me? Like all that kind of stuff. That was probably my biggest thing. And then when things didn't go our way, like sort of like, I don't know, when we got kind of challenged in the games, I kind of sort of tried to blame myself for things when I know that it shouldn't be. It's a team sport. Like it's not one person. But that was probably my biggest challenge, was just self-confidence. But
yeah. And you did a really good job. I mean, Matt, but also proving to yourself, like, and remembering why you're here and why you deserve to be leading this team in that role. And so you had a lot of evidence, even like, I remember even just our first tournament, that you just did so well and delivered the ball, like, just to our hitters in a way where they can be super successful. And hopefully that also is just like racking up the evidence that like, hey, like I can do this. I deserve to be here. So yeah. Lauren, how about you?
I think something that I really struggled with more towards the beginning, not the middle or end, was just like the pressure of the season. Like I'm a senior, I've already won 2 championships. Like I have to go out with like a 3rd one, and like I have to play well this season. I don't want to let my team down. And honestly, that's kind of my biggest like fear as a captain, but also the team is not playing my best and not giving the team what I wanted to give them. And so I think that's really where I struggled. But then I understood like this team, like I have so many amazing players around me, like no matter how I'm playing, like I'm gonna get help from them. And like even you and Luke like helps me understand that I'm allowed to like be off, I'm allowed to make mistakes. Like there's other ways that I can lead the team. And so I thought that.
Yeah, for sure. And it is a ton of pressure, and you are you're in the spotlight, in that role. So yeah, you did a really good job overcoming that. And it's not like it's going to go away. Like it's going to come up again at Auburn, like all of these things for all of you, like as you go on to the next level, as you go on to, whatever you're doing next, like these are kind of those voices that are still going to be there, but hopefully, you know, through like some of those other things that you're saying to yourself, that's why we repeat them. That's why we see them. That's why we visualize them, because it's also like that voice can be louder and we can turn down that other voice that is trying to like, it's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to remind you like, hey, this is big. And it's the reason why it's there is because this matters to you. Like you want to do well. You want to lead your team to another state championship. Like it's there because this is big. Okay. But we have to make that other voice amplify more. So yeah. Logan, what were you challenged with?
I think for me, my junior season was kind of a rough season for me, confidence wise. I struggled a lot with performance anxiety and like self-doubt and lack of confidence. And the season, like the results turned out pretty well. Like we won state, I made second team all league, and I was like, you know, there's like, how much better could this be? Like, do I even want to play senior season? But so coming into the season, I was like, because I'd always looked up to the seniors and like looked to them for support. And this year I was like, I don't have that. Like I am the support. Like I don't know who I could turn to if like I end up falling back into that and like lose all my confidence. So that was kind of a challenge for me coming into the season, but it worked out pretty well. I will say the season went pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think was helpful in that as you were, I mean, because obviously you played, you know, even with some of those doubts, was there anything that was helpful?
Yeah. I think remembering kind of what Lauren was saying, like, it's okay if I make mistakes. This isn't the end of the world. And just allowing myself to trust myself and to trust my teammates, that was really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. And then I think also, Logan, this year you really all three of you did step into like a much different leadership role, even though like Lauren, you were a captain last year, but this year you led in a different way. And Logan, I think you really focused on one of our values of unity this season. And you were like, I'm really going to be a leader that is connecting to people. And sometimes as athletes, like if we take the focus off of ourselves just a little bit, you know, it kind of like helps some of those like confidence things. It's like, okay, I can, if I'm turning this into action for like, how can I help another teammate? How can I connect with a freshman who's on C team and make them feel valued? Like that service and that leadership actually can build your own confidence, because then you're not so focused on like in your own head about things. So I'm not sure if you connected that, but I could see that from that side helping. So yeah. Okay. Now we've got the low point. I have two more questions for you. You all are doing amazing. So, okay, let's hear favorite story of the season. So we'll go to, you have to pick just one. Actually, you can pick a couple if you have more than one, but favorite story of the season. Macy.
It's hard to pick. Honestly, it really is hard to pick. But my favorite memory was probably the murder mystery that we did as a team.
Yeah.
It was team bonding. It was literally the most hilarious thing I've ever, because okay, so everyone on our team got a different character in this murder mystery and we had to figure it out, but every character kind of like matched the person's personality like in a unique way. So it was literally the most hilarious thing because everyone was getting so into character and everyone was like, it's like, I know everyone was kind of worried, like, what if people don't really like get into it? What if it's just kind of like awkward? But like, no, everyone brought it and their costumes are amazing. Like we finally figured out who it was and it was just so much fun. Like everyone, it was a huge hit with everyone and like the bonding was crazy. Like everyone was like, after that, I think that we will play like 10 times better because we were just so like bonded with each other. And yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was so fun. I love somebody else said like after the murder mystery party, we started playing better. And I'm like, what the heck? But it was hilarious. Yeah. And that was like a last minute thing. I was like, oh yeah, murder mystery. We should do that. And then it turned out to be so fun. Yeah. Okay. Lauren, how about you?
Okay. So my favorite memory of the season was probably the entire team in the state locker room before our final match. Because we got there at like, when did we get there? Like 6 or something?
Yeah, we were supposed to be there at 6:15 yeah,
6:15, and we walked out at 7 or something like that. The state final game for 1A was going on started late because they had to wait for everyone else to be done, and then it also went on for a while. So we were probably in that locker room for about 2 hours. It literally felt like an eternity. But yeah. I think it was just so fun because everyone was like a little bit like delusional and everyone was just like dying. There was like a dance party. And yeah, it was just probably the most fun like I've ever had in the locker room. I just thought it was just so funny. We were teaching each other how to juggle. We were we were trying to do the worm. I don't know. It was a very fun time.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. Good time. Well spent.
Yeah.
Our 2-hour delay. Yeah, we were playing. We didn't get done with the championship until like 11:30 or something. And
Yeah, it was so late.
yeah, right. Logan, what was your favorite part?
Oof. I think I could say Sydney Drews, and that would be enough.
Yes.
Yeah. But aside from that, I think the first tournament when Evie got blocked with her face, like it wasn't funny because she got a concussion, but it was kind of funny because we didn't even realize it happened, and we just spent 10 minutes arguing the point.
Yeah.
The ref called it as like an extra touch because it hit her head and she didn't actually block it. But we were like, I don't think that's actually a rule. And we spent like 10 minutes arguing about it, forgetting that Evie was just concussed. Had a ball mark on her head. So that was fun.
That was, yeah, I do feel bad about that. Because I was like, this is not, I was totally like, I'm gonna get the rule book out. And then like Gina, Macy's mom, like on the sideline was like pointing at Evie, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. Maybe there's things more important than this pool play tournament point where we're already up by 10 or something like that. Oh, yeah. But so many good memories. So Sydney Dreves, for those listening, is Lauren's sister. Yeah, so she's a year younger than Lauren and has one more year. See if we can do it for a fourth with her. Yeah, it's hard for me to pick a favorite memory too because it was such a fun season. Murder Mystery was definitely up there. The facial. Our manager also getting hit in the head multiple times, which is not funny, but also like the reason why she became the manager was because she had too many concussions and then got hit in the head, I think by Sophia, like most of the time, missing her serve in warm-up. Yeah. But anyways, no, I think for real, the entire like state championship weekend, like we were untouchable. I don't know. We like just came together at the right time. It was so fun. Like it was just, like basically peaking at just the right time. Sorry to bring up Burlington Edison, but that game was like, that was like nail in the coffin. This is ours, just like for the rest of the tournament. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. So, and just playing out, we had 5 seniors and it was a really special year for those 5 and having just the leadership of those 5, it's going to be, I've thought multiple times, I don't know how any season is going to top this. So I just have to change my mindset about that because it's just, I don't think it's possible. So. Okay, my last question for you 3 is, because we do have athletes that are listening, we have moms of athletes that are listening who are considering okay, should I invest in some mental training for my daughter? Athletes are like, what is mental training? Should I even go down this road? Is it just for people who are struggling? Is it counseling? They have all these reservations, and obviously it's not. We are the best in the state and we train our minds. So what would you tell athletes who are considering doing some mental training to help their game? Macy, we'll go with you first.
Honestly, I would first start off with the fact that you can be thriving in your sport and still need mental training. I think that it's not just for people who are struggling with their mental confidence, because obviously this can help them too. But I think you could be great at your sport and still, we're human, everyone struggles. And I think that mental training can really up your game 100%. Before mental training, I really struggled with my confidence and with my just overall, my mental state, because when I was playing volleyball, I considered quitting many times because my idea of the sport was just completely different. And then transitioning into my freshman year, when I first started doing mental training, I only saw progress from there, not only in my skill, but in my confidence, and also just getting myself out of situations that are wouldn't be able to do before. So yeah, I think that I would definitely emphasize the fact that you can be great at your sport and still need help with your mental state and your confidence and your anything that you need in your sport that you think that you could be better at. Mental training can definitely help you.
Yeah. Very well said. Okay, Lauren, how about you?
I mean, honestly, when I walked through the door, I was like, how is mental training gonna help me with becoming a better athlete? But I was completely wrong about it. It has helped me tremendously become the athlete who I am today. Like, I didn't realize how much pressure and other aspects around outside of sports can affect your playing. And just with simple things as a reset word or a deep breath can completely change the way you play in games that include pressure, games that don't even have any pressure on them. So I just think when you want to be confident, and I think mental training is definitely something that pushes you above any other player that you play with. And I just think it's been one of the most helpful things to me as a player, understanding like I can do this. And I think that's really what has helped me become the player I am, because it lets me know that like I'm fine. It's a sport, like I can reset, I can get back into the game. And so yeah, I just think it's really important.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. It really does give you a competitive advantage. It's like, you know, you put somebody who doesn't know how to deal with pressure, doesn't know how to come back from mistakes, and somebody that does, and they're similar skill, like I'm going to bank on the person that can come back quickly from a mistake. So yeah, Logan, what would you say?
I would say do mental training for sure. Because kind of like Macy was saying, even if your game, like you don't think that you really struggle with that, you can still benefit from it and it can still enhance your game a lot. And when you do struggle with it, like, yeah, it'll help you enjoy the sport again. And like, also, like I've found with me personally, my skill is really only as good as my mental training is. Like as good as my mind is how good as my like physical performance will be. Because when I lack the confidence, then my performance is going to suffer. So there's a huge connection between the mental game and the physical game. So enhancing your mental training is 100% going to improve your physical game.
Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. Okay. Well, thank you again, you three, for coming on. I feel super honored that you are here on the podcast, and I can't say enough good things about who you are as volleyball players and as people. And I can't wait to cheer you on in the next level for Macy, Lauren, and then Logan as you go chase the state championship in track. All right, girls. Well, I will talk to you later. Thank you so much again.